Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome. This is the coaches and Coxswains meeting for the collegiate races held on Lake Quinsigamond this weekend, April 20th and 21st. The races this weekend are being hosted by Assumption University, Clark University, the College of the Holy Cross, and Worcester Polytechnic Institute. So everybody's hosting this weekend. It's going to be a big weekend. My name is Thad Gamula. For those of you who haven't seen me do this before or haven't met me, I will be going through this for the procedures for the weekend through this presentation. Our chief referee for the weekend is John Quinn. He's here on the call with us tonight, and we'll chime in a bit to go over the U.S. rowing portion of the races this weekend. Okay, so just to start off everything per usual, with a large volume of schools and teams we have coming in, we do have to address parking. I know it's a coaches and Coxswains meeting, but please get the message out to your team. There is, first off, absolutely no parking or warming up in the post office property. You can see on the map, it's directly across from the boat ramp where your team trailer and buses will be parking. The area just to the south, or on this picture just to the right, is a dirt parking lot. It's for team vans only. There should be no personal vehicles in there. And directly behind the boathouse is reserved for officials and the coaches who are going to be there. We have sent out many emails for this weekend. It's going to be a highly attended event this weekend, having all schools here. And hosting. So please, we're asking everybody to take the first option is to honestly put into your GPS Shrewsbury High School, and that'll be on the next slide, but park in the satellite lot and take the shuttle. If you do get here early enough, we do have spectator and personal vehicle parking north of the boat ramp as listed it on the yellow lines. But that's it. It just goes from north of the boat ramp. Anything south of the boat ramp, we have signs up. We have cones directly at the boat ramp. If you park in front of a sign or a cone, don't be surprised if you get towed. This is going to be your warning. Please spread the message to your teams, spectators, parents, spread the word. No parking south of the boathouse, parking north only. Stay out of the post office property. We're still working on mending relationships with them from previous mishaps. So please keep away. The shuttle, we are once again running Saturday only. The shuttle will be running from 7:30 to 5:30. So please, coaches, coxswains, everyone, I highly recommend to avoid the hassle. Just have your teams put in their GPS, go to Shrewsbury High School. You're going to be parking in the far east parking lot, which is way up here. And there's going to be a shuttle provided. It's your best bet for not having any issues and, for not having the hassle of parking along the roadway. The other caveat we have to put in is please be aware if you or anybody you know is bringing a dog, they may not be allowed on the shuttle. There have been instances where people with dogs have been turned around from the shuttle. But please, it runs 7:30 to 5:30, which spans our races and even the high school races in the afternoon, which I know we're not worried about. But it's an all-day shuttle. You won't miss it. By all means, take advantage of it. All right. So now on to the racing portion. So for those of you who've never been here before, this area where you see on my screen that I'm circling with my mouse is the boat ramp where the trailers and the buses will be parking. So you are going to be launching. You're going to walk down to the DRC, and you're going to be launching off this ramp, this boat ramp. Everybody will launch going off the north side. And then once you launch, you have two options. If you don't want to warm up, not recommended. You're just going to head right up the Shrewsbury shore. You would follow these blue arrows, shore closest to where you launch, and then you enter the cove. Most of you are going to want to warm up, so you will launch, turn, and head diagonally across. Now, when I say diagonally across the race course, I want you to be well aware of races coming down. If there is a race that's on the stake boats ready to go, please do not go. Please pay attention. Please be aware of your surroundings. If there's a race that's starting to load, like they just started to enter, by all means, move across quickly, get out of the way. But please keep your head on a swivel. We don't have any mishaps for people crossing the course to warm up. We also say diagonally because if you can see in the picture, there's a large red circled area that says stay away shallow. That is the pump house. It is a very shallow area. You'll see a red brick building. Please do not go straight at it. You will be asking for trouble if you do. So once you diagonally cross the course, you are going to turn again and you're going to head down the Worcester side. So you're going to go south along the Worcester shore. At no point should you be on the course. Basically, if you're in a buoyed lane, you find yourself in a buoyed lane, you're going to be considered on the course. We recommend not hugging the buoy line here, just to avoid any mishaps. Just give the race course a healthy space, and you will be fine heading down the course. We ask you not to go any further than the Route 9 bridge. So at the end of the race course, past the finish, there's a large blue arch structure. That's the Route 9 bridge. It's past the finish line. Don't go under it at any point this weekend. Stop before it, turn, cross 90 degrees. Once again, if you're crossing early, please be aware of any races coming down. Also be aware not to stop on the finish line. We had a couple of reports of crews that have stopped on the finish line, and it interrupts the officials who are taking finish times there. But please, once again, go all the way across, and then you're going to head north, going back up the Shrewsbury shore. Same deal. Stay away from the buoy line. Basically, if when you're warming up and you find yourself between a buoyed lane, you're on the course, there's live traffic, immediately get off. You're going to continue your warm up all the way past the DRC. We say at no point should you be practicing pressure going past the DRC. It's a congested area. Once you get up past that into that first 500 area, it's highly congested. No pressure, all the way up to the start line. So you will be continuing up the outside of lane 6 on that Shrewsbury shore, and you're going to enter the warm-up cove between the Shrewsbury pier of the 290 bridge that you start under and the shore. And the next picture is actually going to show it a little better. But please, once again, be mindful of races on the start. Travel once you get into the cove. There's 3 large buoys. You're going to be going counterclockwise around those buoys. There's plenty of space in the cove. It does get congested, but there's plenty of space to spread out and do your warm-ups. You don't have to bunch directly around the white buoys. We do ask you not to go past the red dots. There's no actual line out there, but it's a cove. We don't want you to go further back into the cove. You'll be out of earshot from the officials, and we don't want you to miss your race because you're hanging out back in the cove. And just to go off our race course, we do have 6 fully buoyed lanes numbered 1 through 6, west to east or Worcester to Shrewsbury. So if you're launching, the farthest lane away from you, from where you're launching, is lane 1. The closest is lane 6. And just to go over the loading and the stake boats and the traffic there, you're going to enter the start warm-up area between the Shrewsbury pier and shore. So you can see on this diagram, you can see the pier, which is right next to the, you can see the buoy lanes actually in this. You would follow that green line around and into the starting cove. Once again, it's counterclockwise around the buoys. And then once you're invited onto the course by the referees, you are going to be enter through lane 0, which is just on the east side of the large racing pier span. And I'll show you in the next picture again. And we ask you that you go in reverse numeric order. Okay, so it's going to go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to come down past the stake boats. You're going to turn 90 degrees, cut all the way across into your lane, turn again, and then back down. We ask you that don't go a far distance, especially depending on the wind. If you have a tailwind and you get pushed far down, we don't want you backing up for 150 meters or 250 meters. It's ridiculous. Just use your best judgment depending on the wind that's out there. And then just so you get a better idea, this is the actual bridge. So all the way to the right of this picture is the shore, and the first pier you see coming from that shore, from that right-hand side, that's where you're entering the cove from. The buoy line goes right to it, essentially. You're going to enter the cove in that span. The large span of the bridge right in front of you is the one we race in front of. We race under. And lane 0 is all the way over to the left next to those two piers. And that's it. You'd come down the course, come through lane 0, turn and go across. At no point should you go through the stake boats. You enter from lane 0. You do not go through the stake boats. And now to guide you down the rest of the course and to go over the U.S. rowing rules, here's the chief referee, John Quinn. John?
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Good morning. Good evening, everyone. The only reason that the referees are there are two. First is, and foremost, is safety. Second is fairness. If there's anything that I review tonight, and I know there's some new schools that are attending, if there's anything I review tonight that you don't understand, please ask. There's no stupid questions. No. We would much rather ask and answer a question than have you go on the water uninformed. I'll be down there at about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, even though we will not repeat this meeting. If you have any questions, approach us. We'll be in the vicinity of the boathouse porch. Any of the referees will answer any question that you have. Don't go on the water with a question in your mind, especially one regarding safety. As Thad said, please wear a wristwatch and know what time your scheduled race is. Give yourself time to get to the starting line. We will start loading each race just as soon as the race prior to it clears the broken equipment zone, which is 100 meters. So you will have approximately 9 workable minutes between races. We will not come get you. If you go into the upper right-hand corner of the lake, into that little area that Thad pointed out, we will not run after you up there. We will not run after you down the course. If you are not at the starting line at the time that's on the schedule, you will miss your race. That goes from every race that we're doing for any school. As Thad said, please be cautious from the boathouse area up into the marshalling area. Once you get into the marshalling area above the starting lines, that's going to be the most congested place on the course. The old adage about head on a swivel. Please, most of the boats are coxed. Have the bow person turn around and just make sure before you take a racing piece, or every now and again, just turn around, make sure there's no one directly in front of you. We don't need any collisions up there. Thad mentioned the warm-up area is counterclockwise. There's 3 buoys in the warm-up area. We want you to go around the buoys, not straight back and forth. Before you start taking a warm-up piece, have your bow person turn around, make sure there's no one in front of you, and then take the warm-up piece and do it safely, okay? It's a lot of congestion. It's very safe. We do it every weekend, but it does require attention and cooperation of the crews. Once the prior race to yours has been started, actually before that, we'll start assembling the next race in the lane 0 side. As Thad said, lane 0 is between the large arch and the first stake boat. It is an unbuoyed lane, and it is the first unmarked lane. We want you to come down when your race is called into the racing lanes, high numbers first, so that when you come through the arch, go to the bottom of the stake boats, stop, make a left-hand turn. Turn towards your port side and go across the front of the stake boats to your lane. Make sure you get in the proper lanes. There are only 6 stake boats there. There are 6 lanes. They are not numbered, but they are numbered 1. The lanes are numbered 1 through 6. We'll be directing you, but also we need some cooperation to make sure you get in your lane. Do not, as Thad pointed out accurately, pull down below the stake boats and go 100 meters downstream and try to back up. If there's any kind of a wind at all, it's going to be more prevalent at the start, and it's going to be very, very difficult, time-consuming, and everything else to try to back up. Most crews, especially early in the season, do not have the skill set to be able to do that, and we don't want to waste a lot of time trying to get you on stake boats. If we cannot get you on the stake boat, we will excuse you and race without you. Okay, so once all the crews get on the stake boat, you will be aligned from your starboard side. There'll be someone talking to you from the starboard side, and they'll be speaking to the person holding the stern of your boat. And by the way, as you come into the stake boats, do not come in hot. Come in very, very slow, very much under control. The stake boats holders have been told that if anyone comes in hot and poses a risk to them with their hands or any other body part or anything that might be hanging over the end of the stake boat, arms, anything at all, just to let you go and not try to catch you. So come in slowly and under control. Once they have you, you will be aligned, and the aligner will give the stake boat person a distance and a direction. Forward 6 inches, back 8 inches, things like that. There's nothing that you have to do at that point. That motion, that correction is being done by the stake boat person. Once you get on the stake boat, it's going to be your responsibility to stay there. Now, if you don't know what sculling a boat is, please read up tonight. That means bow taking 2's oar or 2 taking 3's oar and sculling the boat around. If you scull the boat around or pull the boat around on your own, whatever you do, have the last rower on the opposing side back down gently. That will keep the stern of the stake, keep the stern of your shell against the stake boat. Believe me, we've done this for a number of years, and it's very easy to keep on a stake boat if you do it in that way. If you pull yourself off the stake boat, again, we will not keep trying. If you cannot stay on the stake boat, we will excuse you and run the race without you. Once we have everyone aligned, we will try to do the announcing of the crews, which is not a polling. We don't expect you to get to answer us. We won't have your hands in the air. We won't be recognizing hands at that point. Once the announcing starts, hands will not be recognized at all. All the starter, she or he, is going to do is just run through and announce all the crews that are in the race, then say, attention, go. Attention, putting a red flag in the air and say, go. If for some reason the weather conditions prohibit us from getting the crews on the stake boats because of wind or anything at all that comes up like that, any kind of current or climatic condition or whatever, we will use a quick start, and we will announce the quick start before the race. Our first priority is to get you off fairly, but if we have to revert to a quick start, we will announce it and do it. At the point in time when we use a quick start, we'll get the crews aligned. We will not announce them. We will not announce the crews in a quick start. We'll just say, quick start, attention, go, accompanied by a drop of a red flag. If you jump the start, we'll call you back. If you do it the second time, you will be excluded from the race. You'll be a spectator. Please don't play games. We want to get crews off the line safely, fairly, and together. At that point in time, the referee, who is acting as there may be If conditions dictate, we might have a constant starter. In other words, the starters would not rotate. If best case scenario is that all the referees will rotate among the different positions. We'll have 4 referees on the water until the finish, by the way. So the referee that was the liner will then fall in behind the race and follow you down over the course. Over the course, the referee's responsibility is not, repeat, not to steer you. If they see that you're about to strike another crew or wash another crew, they will direct you by calling the crew's name, putting a white flag in the air, and dropping the white flag in the direction that we want you to head. Please respond immediately. That's not going to be done 10 strokes ahead of time. It's going to be done as the need is there. It doesn't matter how many times we direct you. It's an unlimited situation. As long as you respond, we'll keep directing you. Over the body of the course, each of the 500-meter markers are more. Going back. The broken equipment zone is marked by a line of red buoys, and that's at the 100-meter mark. It comes up pretty quick, but if anything breaks, repeat, breaks in the first 100 meters, stop rowing and put your hand in the air. We might miss something that breaks, but we won't miss a stopped crew, okay? It is not permitted to stop a race for a bad start, a jump slide, a crab, or anything like that. It must be legitimate broken equipment. If that's the case, and it is broken equipment, we'll stop the race, get the equipment fixed. We'll make a determination of how we're going to attend to that, and then we'll make the announcement and proceed from there. If you stop a race, you'll receive a warning. Okay, 2 warnings, you're out. Pardon. Over the finish line, as you go down to the finish line itself is approximately 200 meters before the Route 9 bridge. If you look over to the starboard side, off to the starboard side, there's a little sloped stand, like a grandstand, a small grandstand. It's on this tiny little island right past the boathouse that's there. And you'll see someone standing down at water's level with an orange flag in the air. And there's a row of judges sitting there at the finish, waiting to judge the arrival of the crews. As the first crew goes across the line, you'll hear a noise, a buzzer, a beeper, and then the orange flag will drop. As the second crew goes across, the orange flag will come up. It goes in one direction for each successive cruise until all the crews are across the water, across the finish. At the end of the race, the referee will do absolutely nothing for about 10 seconds. She or he will just stand there and look at you to make sure that everything as okay. If there's anyone that has a problem in the boat, and the most common things, especially as you can hear it in my voice right now, most common thing is going to be maybe asthma type thing or allergies, because there's a lot of pollen around, and sometimes people have respiratory issues. Get your hand in the air right away. Let us know. We'll attend to that. We'll get the person out of the boat. There's a police boat right there, and we have medical folks on call to attend to that. But our first attention is going to be to attend to someone that is in distress. If everything is okay, the referee will show a white flag to the crews. A white flag, same to the finish line, folks. Announce the time and release you to come back up to the start. Now, Thad did say, and I can't emphasize enough, if you're going in either direction, regardless of the direction you're going, you have buoys on both sides of you. If you're not racing, you're in a racing lane. Get out of it, please. We don't want you in the racing lanes coming back to the start. We don't want you meandering down the racing lanes as you warm up. please. Stay out of the racing lanes. One other quick thing, as Thad mentioned, when you go across the lake from Donahue Rowing Center, there's a small little pump house. It's a red brick building. The water is very shallow near that building. It's shallow enough that inevitably every year some poor soul loses a skeg, pulls the bottom out of a boat, or whatever. If you get very close, it's marked. There's buoys there, right, Thad? There's buoys there.
There's a no wake buoy, I believe, there.
Okay, so there'll be a big white no wake buoy there. Just don't go anywhere near. It's well outside the racing lanes. Just don't go near the shore, especially at that point, because it gets very, very shallow and it will do damage to your boat. That's pretty much it. Again, as I said, if you have any questions right now, I'll be happy to answer them as best I can. If you have any questions tomorrow morning, please. Anybody with a blue hat or a blue jacket on, we're most helpful. I'm trying to think back on the crew that I have tomorrow, and everyone's got rowing experience, racing experience, coaching experience, and some competitive experience. A couple of us were former Coxswains, so we've been in your seats for a lot of years, and we'll be happy to help. We don't want you to go on the water with any questions.
John, I do take that back. It is actually not currently marked. It isn't marked until the championships. So.
Okay, so just stay away from the red building across from Donahue. Stay as far away from the shore as you can. Not out to the buoy line, but just don't go near the shore over there. Okay, I'll sign on mute. If you have any questions, just give them the Thad or whatever.
Yeah, we'll have a section at the end if anybody has any questions. Thank you, John. And just to reiterate, if you have any questions and you don't want to ask it in this forum tonight, by all means, go up to them. You'll see them. They're either standing on the deck or in front of the boathouse. It's a group of people wearing dark blue. Don't be afraid to approach them and ask questions. They're very knowledgeable and they will do their best to answer your question. Okay, so after you finish the race and it's been made official, you spin towards the Shrewsbury shore, so your port side, and make sure you are well off the course before heading back north towards the DRC. Same deal. Outside the buoy lane, like we've said multiple times tonight, watch for oncoming races and stay away from the course. If a race is coming down, please stop your crew until the race passes and then continue. You will then be landing at the southern end of the DRC docks, and for the volume of teams and boats we have tomorrow, please let's not take our time on the docks. Be a little quick about it. Get on the docks, get off the docks, get on the water. Be as quick as you can. Please, no public urination. Porta potties are provided at the bottom of the boat ramp, and clubhouse bathrooms are for local schools only. Go ahead, John. What do you got?
Thad, one thing. We usually mention this for head racing, but it bears repeating. Early season racing, in a head race, we always emphasize don't row away from anyone that exits the boat. And it should be common sense that you don't row away from anyone who might exit a boat with an early season racing. I mean, they're not swimming around in 85, 90-degree water. Believe me, it's going to be chilly. So if someone by any chance catches a crab and gets thrown out, stop the boat. The referee will get over right away. And that is an urgent situation, and we want you to address it. But don't exacerbate the problem by rowing away, thinking that someone will pick them up immediately. You're the quickest person to them. You be the first responder, and we'll be right up behind you.
Perfect. Thank you. So at this point, if anybody has any questions, please, by all means, there's multiple ways you can ask them. You can either do the raise hand function or by chat, or I believe there's a question and answers section in here somewhere. If anybody misses it or you want to repeat something that's been said, a recording of this meeting will be on the Quinsigamond Rowing Association YouTube channel. And so far, the weather is looking, For those of you here last Saturday, more favorable. Slightly less wind, but same direction. I'm seeing about 6 miles per hour for a headwind. And Sunday's not terrible either. Looks pretty good. We'll give it a minute if anybody has any questions. Don't all jump at once. All right. Well, if everybody's good, then thank you very much for attending, and we will see everybody tomorrow. Well, not everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Thad.
Thank you.